Unity of Houston is an inclusive church where we seek to understand and live the teachings of Jesus and other spiritual masters. At Unity, we welcome all people from all spiritual paths and every walk of life. We celebrate the diversity of our city and of our world, and we teach love, tolerance, and oneness, seeking to live in harmony with open minds and open hearts.
Wherever you are in your spiritual path, you are always welcome at Unity. Join us and discover that the life of your dreams is already within you.
Unlimited forgiveness. Is that intimidating? Unlimited forgiveness. Unless, of course, you're receiving it, right? Unlimited forgiveness, we all want that. We all probably need it, right? But to be the giver, or to be in the flow of forgiveness, unlimited. Ooh, what is that about? You know, the other song that we began, Spirit Am I, has a lot of the themes that I really want you to walk away with this evening. So I hope that you enjoyed that chant or was able to sing along. It's maybe familiar to you. We use it a lot here. But it is about wholeness, of course, but it's also about freedom. Forgiveness is freedom. And when we remember that, I think more and more, or remember the freedom of forgiveness, it becomes easier to be willing to submit to it, to do what is necessary, the hard work of getting to that forgiveness and getting to that freedom. So tonight, I first want to start with, just a quick kind of recap for you, perhaps in your life. What is forgiveness? Well, it's both self-forgiveness, of course, and it is other-related. It's other situations. And it can also be forgiveness of conditions, things that have happened to you. So in a way, it's forgiving God, It's like, how did this happen to me? How come that came? How come what I expected didn't come? How come what I expected didn't happen in my life? And we can hold on to these hurts and wounds and disappointments and experiences, and we really do have to find a way to forgive them all at some point, consciously, or a way to release them. So forgiveness is really applied in both directions, both for self and for others, for those that we feel have offended us or hurt us or in some sort of way. Situations of hurt by another, being the holder of resentment, revenge, unforgiveness, has to be healed to be completely free. That is something that we have to do. It's for us to forgive. It is for us to let go. And for me, when it comes to forgiveness, what helps me is to use the words let go. Because I don't have a lot of charge around letting go. I have a lot of charge around forgiveness. And because it sounds like condoning, and it sounds like it's okay, and I get kind of confused if there's a lot of entanglement in it for me. But letting go of something, putting something down, stop holding on, stop hurting myself with, whether it's something that I've done, letting go has no charge for me, and it is simple. It's one thing to me. It's this. It's that. It's some release of some sort. Release and let go. And even if I pick it up again, I practice letting go again. And if I pick it up again, I can let it go again. And that's the process. And depending on how severe the hurt, how deeply wounded, how long it's been a part of me, will depend on how long it may take for me to really be completely freed. You in your own process, you know that. Robert Brummett says that forgiveness is giving up all of our stories of how wrong or bad someone has been and how how they need to feel the pain they've caused us, that we can't let them get away with having done something to us, you know, those kinds of thoughts. We may not be actively, consciously in revenge, but in some way, we're still waiting for them to get theirs, right? Even if it's not by my hand, right? It's just, you know, karma is going to come around, right? You know, there's some satisfaction in knowing they cannot get away with it, right? And as long as I'm invested in that, it doesn't matter that they do or they won't or someday they will. It only matters what my attitude is about it. You know, if I'm still clinging to waiting for that moment that I can see, they got it, then I'm still not free. I'm still bound to it. I'm still energetically connected, and I'm still wounded, and I'm still hurt by it. And I'll often find that even when they get theirs, I'm not free yet, because I have to free myself by really letting go. Forgiveness is about accepting a past experience and leaving it in the past. Accepting is not condoning or approving the behavior or allowing it to in our lives in the future. That's an important distinction. If you accept that something happened, you're simply admitting that, yes, these events happened. This is the fact of my experience. But it isn't that it's okay, that you'll allow it again, that you would not set up a boundary to not allow that to happen in your life, and to see how you might have been complicit in allowing that situation or that condition or that type of person or that behavior in your life. So it's a learning experience, but accepting it is a part of the forgiveness process. It's not there yet, but it's a part of it. It's accepting the facts of the event and knowing that those facts cannot be changed now. Because what can change is what we make it mean about ourselves and others and how we feel about it now. That's what can change. That's what has to change, actually. And that's actually where freedom begins to move in our lives. Robert Brummett said, forgiveness is a willingness to face and feel our pain in the present moment, a willingness to let it go. In other words, when we start to accept that something happened and that this isn't okay, immediately the hurt and the memory and the feeling and the surprise and the upset and the consequences of that experience begin to register again, and we simply need to be with it, not avoid it, not project it, not try to get away from it, not try to go into revenge mode to help displace it, but rather just to breathe through our bodies and to be present to it. As we feel our pain in the present moment, we begin to have a willingness to let it go. And there lies. Letting it go is not covering it up or denying it. Letting it go is just saying, yes, that happened to me. Release. I'm going to let it go. And when I find myself picking it up again, I breathe, I release. Forgiveness is freedom. And you can experience that freedom over and over again until you finally reside in it, till you are in it. Freedom in spirit, to choose unlimited ways to see this. This is what freedom really means. Freedom is that in a spiritual freedom, well, let me do it the other way. We often think of freedom in our political ways of freedom, a freedom in our society, a freedom in our culture, that my freedom is not unlimited here in this realm. It isn't. I cannot go and do any old thing that I think I want to do, which is what my ego would lead me to do, necessarily, because it could begin to impinge on someone else's freedom. And that's where we have our discussions and our disagreements and our polarization is that freedom at this level is not unlimited. There is a boundary that we have to find and that we have to live in order to live with one another. Now, spiritual freedom, on the other hand, is only one thing. Spiritual freedom of the soul is truly unlimited, and choices for the soul to make are truly unlimited. And the reason for that is that you cannot harm somebody else at a spiritual level of purity and openness from your soul level, because ego's not involved. And that everything that my soul chooses brings more light, more love, more possibilities, and that can only lift all the boats, can only connect with all the others. It is an inspiration and a way of lifting things up. So when my soul is free, then all souls are free. Then I'm in that situation. So you see the difference in our spiritual freedom is always unlimited. Freedom from pain, hurt, burden, resentment, revenge, condemnation of self or others, that's the freedom that we get from this experience of letting ourselves go and to release. We begin to realize the payoff soon for feeling the pain of our situation. When we start to realize, after practicing this for a bit, we begin to see that freedom is the payoff, and I can begin to anticipate it so that I am willing now to feel the pain of whatever it is that's here. I face my guilt or my shame, feel my guilt, feel my lack of skillful behavior, something that I have done that I regret, that I'm going to have to go clean up my mess with somebody else. But if I hold out in front of myself the possibility of freedom on the other side that I have experienced in other occasions, then I'm able to do that. I'm beginning to get it, that this is going to turn out well for me. This is worth it. It's worth feeling it, to get through it and get to the other side of it. We realize that we've already lived through the pain of the event and survived it. That's another thing. It's not like I am reliving this. We always think we are when I remember, oh yeah, that happened. Or, oh yeah, I did that. I didn't mean to. Oh, that was awful. That turned out bad. I think I'll go and have chocolate, you know. I think I'll forget about it for a little while. When I remember that this, in fact, is something that I have already lived through, I have already done, and now all I really need to do is to stop punishing myself with it, to stop reliving it, to stop holding it over myself, and instead find a way to release it and forgive myself and let go of it. To really let go and find my freedom again, and find myself to be lovable again, and whole, not broken, teachable even. And then I begin to find a place in myself. I'm able to extend that to others as well. Any pain after the fact is self-induced. Anything that happens after the event, any pain I feel now, that's on me. That doesn't matter who created it, and it doesn't matter how badly I made a mistake there. I don't have to keep feeling it over and over again, except by my own decision and choice to do that, to keep hurting myself with it. You see, I can change that because I've already lived through the event. I'm already on the other side of it. I don't have to keep punishing myself with it. Now I can interrupt it by releasing it, by letting it go, by learning from it, by making amends if I need to, by handling it however I need to really get the full benefit of it and release. Robert Brummett says, unforgiveness is the price I pay for holding on to condemnation. It's a continuation of our own unhealed wounds, as well as a lack of self-awareness and perpetuation of our own suffering. I think of it this way, that the repetitive punishment of feeling the pain of the event over and over again, anger that tears at our own soul, and the trap of acting out the anger in other surrogates. We haven't talked about that. If we are carrying anger left over from something that happened to us and unforgiveness, we will find other surrogates to either to go through that drama, that psychodrama with us again. We'll draw people to us who are working that stuff out in their life. It's not a coincidence. It is perfectly on time. And it'll make me feel the way I felt before. And they'll be, the bad guy again. And I'm still angry and I'm still unforgiving, right? But it's only because I have drawn this to me again, because I need to release. I need to release this event. I need to find a way out of it. Also, when we hold on to our unforgiveness, when we hold on to things that we are afraid to deal with or don't know how or don't want to because we don't want to let them off the hook or whatever our reasons are, it's a barrier to our own spiritual growth. It doesn't matter how long you meditate. It doesn't matter how much yoga you do. It doesn't matter how many wonderful workshops you go to, how many books you read. You will always hit a level where this has to be faced. This will have to be let go. You'll have to learn how to forgive because it is the pathway to freedom. Nothing else will get you there. Letting go of the blocks that keep you from experiencing the freedom that's already here. That's the spiritual path. There's only one thing, and it's always going to be this letting go, this release. Robert Brummett says we cannot put limitations or conditions on our forgiveness either. You can't just say, well, I'll forgive that person for having said this thing to me, but I will not forget what they said later. I will not forgive how they acted when I walked down the hallway. I will not forgive whatever. It's like if you're doing it, you're still not there yet. Maybe you made some progress. I'm not entirely sure, but maybe you did. Maybe you got a little practice, a little run up to it, but you are not in forgiveness. You are not free. You're still waiting to see what this person's going to do or not do to, wreck your world, to upset you again. So we can't put limitations or conditions on forgiveness. It's got to be full out. And it doesn't matter how small or how incredibly significant the offense is or the challenge that you have to forgive is, how big of an event it is in your life. You cannot do it conditionally or piecemeal. You might find yourself doing that as a process, especially if it's a big deal, over a period of time, making progress inch by inch or little by little. The only thing I'm saying is not that it isn't a good way to do it. It may be your way, and it may be important to do it that way. But what you need to know is you're not there yet until you're all the way there. You're not all the way free because it cannot be limited or conditional. The incredible power and freedom. It's like a total solar eclipse. Has anybody experienced a total solar eclipse? Raise your hand if you've seen a been in a total solar eclipse. Yes, I have been. And I had been in a lot of almost, almost total, partial, almost there, solar eclipse. But when I experienced a total solar eclipse, everything shifted. It not only got dusky in the middle of the day, it got at least 10 to 15 degrees cooler. The birds stopped singing and then started doing weird things, flying in different ways. And things started to get weird and eerie and then quiet. There was a weird quietness because everything responded. All of nature responded to this change until, again, the sun poked out and things started. It was an entirely different experience. When it was approaching, the shade on the ground, the way the sun came through, you know how you do the little pin dot on a little, you've seen that where you can see how the moon is moving in front of the sun, right? So that you're not looking directly at it. The same thing is true in the shade of the tree leaves, and there were all these little crescent moons all over the ground. It was the freakiest, weirdest thing I've ever seen. I took about 90 pictures of it. I was like, I've never seen this before, it's so crazy. And then it was just gone. Total solar eclipse is that total sense of freedom when you are free. And it's a completely different experience than almost forgiven. Almost let go. Just a little bit left, a little conditional left. It's different. The reason that you can't get total freedom from a partial forgiveness is because freedom itself is unlimited and unconditional. Freedom is full out. All choice is available to you. Everything becomes possible in total freedom, spiritual freedom. In spiritual freedom, everything is possible. The purpose of forgiveness, it really helps to know why you're forgiving. Think about what it is that you're expecting to get from it. To those who are hurt by toxic or abusive relationships, I always feel like I have to say this to you. If you are hurt by toxic or abusive relationships, please hear this. The goal of forgiveness is not so that you're able to resume your previous association with them, or that you don't have to leave the situation because you have become a better person. Did you hear me say that? Let me say it one more time. If you are in a toxic or abusive relationship, the goal of forgiveness is not so that you're able to resume association with them, or that you don't have to leave the situation because you've become a better person now, more spiritual, No amount of forgiveness on your part is going to make them safe for you to be around. I'm going to say that one more time. No amount of forgiveness on your part is going to make them safe for you to be around. And no number of I'm sorries without action that matches that is going to make them safe for you to be around. Okay? Now back to our regularly scheduled program. I just wanted you to know that I'm not what I'm saying, and so don't hear that. So now what you can hear, though, is the goal of forgiveness is complete spiritual freedom and experience of our true self as love. This is the part of us that we can begin to feel again when we have done self-forgiveness as well. That I'm lovable, that I'm not broken, that I am deserving, and that I'm worthy because I didn't think I was, because I thought that had stopped the love. no one could love anybody who could say that or do that or be that, right? So when I feel my love again, when I feel lovable, my freedom is restored, my choice is restored. If you know the real reason to forgive, you won't be tempted to stop part way and accept conditional forgiveness. If you know what you're really in for, this total freedom, this unconditional love, this lovability returned to you, you won't stop partially. By saying, if they'll only say they're sorry, or put limitations only for this kind of thing that hurts me, but it can hurt me, but it can never hurt my kids, or I could never forgive that. I could forgive a lot of things, but I could never forgive that. Well, guess what? You will be in a position that you may have to face that condition, that gauntlet you've thrown out to spirit, because there is a place in you that doesn't believe you're lovable or that you're capable or that you're powerful enough to let go of anything that comes your way, because you're already more than that. I often say that complete freedom comes with complete forgiveness. This is the only recipe, and you're entirely capable of it, no matter how long it takes. So how do we forgive? We see the need for forgiveness. I'm going to follow Robert Brummett's list. First, you see the need for forgiveness. Recognize the symptoms of unforgiveness for self or others. The desire for revenge is a symptom. Harsh criticism, avoidance of rejection of another person, like you try to avoid them. You don't want to look at them, talk at them. You don't want to get coffee with them. You don't want to be in the room at the same time they're going to be there, that kind of thing. A feeling that someone is bad or wrong. They're just wrong. I just can't abide that person. They're just wrong. They're bad. They're stupid. Joy at someone's difficulties. Yeah, see, they finally got it. It goes around, comes around. When I can rejoice in that, there's something I'm hanging on to. I like to say that I have become more sensitive now to a contraction of my heart toward myself or obsession with another person in my thoughts. Those are the two clues that I have when I need to do some forgiving, which is for me is just release, is just let him go, let myself go. Stop punishing myself. Stop judging myself. Stop holding that against me. Stop replaying that video over and over in my head about something I said or did or didn't do or should have done or could have done different or better. The contraction in my heart is where I recognize that I am shut down, that I'm not allowing the love to flow. And that is my cue that I need to let go. He says, remembering the purpose of forgiveness is to complete freedom and experience of ourselves as love. Become willing to forgive. This is the way we do it. We allow ourselves to be the love that we bring to the situation. Robert Brummett said, it's a choice, not a duty or moral or spiritual obligation. We have to free will choose that this is what we're going to do, that this is how we're going to be. We're going to forgive. The third thing, he says, is ask for help from your higher power, something greater than yourself. This helps you to leave identity with the ego and to seek awareness of your greater self or connection with something greater than yourself, greater than your ego, however you relate to some higher power. The higher self or something greater than you, just a bigger vat of love than you can feel right now. That's what you want to appeal to. Ask for help. He says the fourth step is to give up condemnation and waiting for punishment, self or others, to see them punished or to fear that we're going to get punished. We deserve it. We shouldn't have whatever it is we want next or whatever we're afraid of. We give up the condemnation and waiting for punishment. It's not up to us to judge who deserves to be forgiven. We don't decide that, right? Well, they don't deserve it. They didn't act. They never said they were sorry. They never acted like they cared. That's not our job. Innocence has already determined that each of us are worthy of forgiveness. The innocence that's already within us has already decided the worthiness. We're all just trying to get home. We're all just trying our best. We're using what has worked before, or the only thing we know to try, or the thing we were taught, or the thing that we were shown. Robert Brummett says number 5 is to face and feel the underlying pain. That's another way. We have to make peace with that. We have to allow ourselves to feel it and allow ourselves to release it. Number 6, know the truth. What is the truth? Oh, it's not exactly all I thought it was. I played a role in that too. I should never have let that person into my life. I knew they were bad news. I knew that I should have tried a little harder or done something different. Our innocence and our mistaken ideas that what we have done or said or failed to do or say will give us what we really want. That's the mistake we all make. That when something doesn't work, it's because I thought this would do it. I thought I could cut corners. I thought I could get by with it. I thought I could, but I can't. I need to make amends. Robert Brummett says, number 7 is just to repeat as often as needed. The willingness, see that you need to forgive something, be willing, ask for help, give up condemnation, self or others, feel the pain, know the truth. Willingness, ask for help, give up condemnation, feel the pain, know the truth, and repeat as often as you need to. What works for me is to notice that constriction of my heart for myself or for others, and the obsession I might have for a situation or an event, something that I play over and over in my head, or a person who I imagine is thinking all these things about me, and, I bet they think this, or I bet they want that, or they would say, and I realize that they never said any of those things. They're not even paying any attention to me. I'm playing all this, I'm making a villain up in my own head. And that's when I realize I can stop torturing myself with that. I can let them go. Breathe and tell myself, let it go, Karen. Just breathe. Repeat against every argument that comes up, let it go, Karen. Just stop. Let it go. After several repetitions, I begin to see myself loosened up, a little bit bigger, more worthy, lovable. I begin to feel lovable again, and then I know I've released. I'm freed again. And then it helps to see that the person is more than the one thing they have done or said, that they are also worthy and that they're also lovable at some point. Even if it's not up to you to love them right now, you can see that their innocence is your innocence as well. Releasing this person from your own condemnation relieves them of the energetic bond of your unforgiveness and allows them freedom to become who they are. Now, it doesn't mean you made them that, you didn't transform them, you didn't do it, you didn't keep them from it. But what you did was you released a bond, freed yourself, and now they're free. Go do something different. They're freed. They don't have to play in your psychodrama. And sometimes, miraculously, they do. They do. Matthew chapter 16, verse 19. I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven, and whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven. So this is our power. This is our gift. How will you use it? Choose wisely. Namaste.
Thank you for watching this message today. I'd like to invite you to join us in person here on campus at Unity of Houston for Sunday morning or Wednesday evening services. If you can't be with us here on our campus, you can still join us live on Facebook or on our website, unityhouston.org, Sunday mornings at 11 a.m. Central.